Hey y'all, welcome back to Beyond the Claim Unfiltered Insurance and Adjuster Talk. I am your host, Conticia. Now, I need to speak with you all. I just do not want this leaving the headlines. I want to keep Texas on the map. I want to continue to talk about Texas because they're going to have a long cleanup. They're going to have a long way to go to restore, to get back. And I don't even know if they'll ever really get back to being normal, but just getting back to maybe a routine. Because one of the things I know about being an adjuster, some companies that I've worked for, whenever someone has a claim, they give them 2 years from the date of loss to, claim, get their claim in, get their receipts in, get their estimates in so they can recover their depreciation. And that's 2 years from the date of loss. So this here to me is a little bit different than that because you're going to need multiple years to get these counties, these areas back right from that date of loss. So I always know that pretty much they're gonna be left behind out of the headline story. But as an adjuster, I do know that repair goes on, cleanup goes on, mourning a loss goes on. It's just going to be a lot to go with this. So I just wanted to give y'all an update what's going on in Texas and a couple of other things that's going on around the country as well. But you guys know, before I hop into my episode, I definitely have to bring something to you that is definitely dear to my heart. So this right here, man, I just want to remind you all that child sex trafficking is a growing crisis. In 2024, over 27,000 cases were reported in the United States alone. Okay. If you see something, say something, you guys. Every voice matters. Every child deserves protection. Report it. We have this whole thing going on with the Epstein files and, whether there was something there or not. We know that they're victims. And one thing I know for sure is that they were young girls. There's a whole thing on Epstein on Netflix. If you go and watch that, you'll see that it started with young girls in high school, where one was recruited, she thought was easy money. And then what happened? She recruited other friends to pretty much it became a whole ring of them, right? And that became a problem. And listen, yes, he was supposedly held accountable for that in Florida, but going to jail at a certain time at night and getting out in the morning for child sex trafficking or dealing with these minors, you all know that that was not a harsh punishment for that type of a crime against young people. Because what happens, I know what the assignment is. The assignment is to get our kids while they're young, and hopefully that they will duplicate that same behavior to keep it going. This is why if you see something, say something. Report suspected child trafficking. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. Every voice matters. Every child deserves protection, you guys. We got to protect our young ones, okay? So don't forget, this is something that is relevant, and it is something that we need to take control of. All right, so I want to let you all know what's happening right now in Texas, across the devastation that is happening. I really want this to be a wake-up call for all of us, right? So we're talking about flood damage. We're talking about FEMA failures, forgotten communities, and why the insurance industry cannot keep doing business as usual, right? Because us as consumers, we got to understand that our dollars talk. And if these insurance companies are not reinvesting back into our communities, we need to take our money elsewhere, right? So let me tell you, the floodwaters came fast, rising to waist level inside homes, wiping out communities, businesses, and even lives, right? So that took place. But let me tell you what the aftermath looked like. 38,000 homes could be impacted according to CoreLogic, and yet very few of them had flood insurance. And that is something that I've talked about multiple times on my show, on my episodes, because I want homeowners to understand, if you're going to invest in these homes, I don't care if your home is worth 13,000 to a million, you definitely want to have flood insurance. Right. And see, I'm not guessing. I'm telling you this as a claim adjuster. When I see the videos of the water coming in, or they're talking about how the floods came in, I already knew no flood insurance mean no payout. For your walls, there's no coverage. For your furniture, your clothing, your kids' clothes, beds, mold cleanup, nothing, just heartbreak. And so pretty much you're at this time, you're going to be really relying on community help. You're going to be relying on FEMA, you know, um, because we already know, right, that standard homeowner policy does not cover flood. And in this catastrophic flooding, they did find about 14,000 flood policies were active across the affected counties, right? So 14,000 out of, let's see, 38,000 homes. I am even happy the 14,000 had it. And I'm going to tell you probably why they had it. Because if they are currently like in a flood zone, they had to have it if FEMA has helped them out previously. So what happened if you were in a flood zone, you got flooded out before, and FEMA came in to help you, you are required to keep that policy. Now FEMA will take care of, I think, your first 2 years, making all your monthly payments. You don't have to pay anything for your first 2 years. But once those first 2 years are up, you are responsible to continue to have that flood policy and keep that premium up. I thought that was a really good deal. That FEMA would do that for those areas. So I'm counting on that majority of those 14,000 policies that they found, those were backed by FEMA and they were required to have that. Now, I just want you all to understand and just imagine that just 1 foot of water can cost the average home $25,000 to $29,000 in damage. One foot. You know, um, it costs that water damage. It costs. One in four flood claims come from areas outside of high risk flood zones. So what does that mean? That means this can happen to you even if your mortgage company don't require the coverage, because most mortgage companies don't require flood coverage. But pretty much flood coverage need to be a part of our standard coverage as well. On my previous episodes, I showed you all, the people were saying, well, we didn't get a warning. Pretty much the system failed them. And also when they look around, they said, we don't have flood coverage. So at that time, we already know that they don't have coverage, right? But I want to tell you something that when on my other episodes I told you, you're going to have to be your brother's keeper. You got your sister's keepers. At this point in time, this is where community come in. This is where the best help comes in. We now know that we can't really depend on the government to really come in. I do know that FEMA is there in a select counties that has come to assist in this, but FEMA also have their own issues as well, because FEMA can't really be trusted at this point right now. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to let you see in a moment that FEMA can't really be trusted, because they'll give you something and next thing you know, they'll cut the program. I'm going to give you an example of that in just a moment. But I want to show you guys what it means to be your brother's keeper. I want to show you this right here, this quick video. Two of them I want to show you what I'm talking about, where communities definitely have to come together.
The main goal right now, the focus for everyone is to recover as many people as we can, which means all of them. That's the goal. There's no plan B on that because the families are waiting and the friends are waiting. You know, they want their loved ones home so they can move on, so they can mourn or whatever it is they may need. So that is our focus. Today is day 15 and the search continues. So there are people on foot searching and canine units and divers all up and down the river for 30 miles. And also the heavy equipment that you can see in here. And what the heavy equipment is doing, they're not doing cleanup right now. They're still searching these piles piece by piece, layer by layer, looking for anyone that they can find or any clues or anything. And so it's a very tedious process. And there's so many pockets of brush and so many different areas and everything from huge cypress trees to just clusters of small things. So it's a lot of ground to cover, but they are making massive headway.
Now, me personally, that's a part of being your brothers and your sisters keeper, to where you're going to continue to search to bring home the family members. They're waiting for their loved ones. And that's one of the things I don't want us to forget, because this story is going to disappear out of the headlines. It's already pretty much gone. It's not the headline anymore. So now when I'm searching for updates on this, I have to really dig deep because they're fading away. But me as an adjuster, I know we can't fade away. We got to be able to help our loved ones, our families, our friends, our community to rebuild and try to piece together their lives. Like I say, normally there are some insurance policies that where when you file a claim, they give you 2 years from the date of loss to get everything done. 2 years. So can you imagine with this type of cleanup, with this type of catastrophic damage? It's going to take more than 2 years. It's going to take a long time. This is why we do have to keep up with what is going on in Texas. All right. I want to show you all another video because I want us to be able to get involved and donate how we can. I did go ahead and donate today. And I also want to show you all how you can donate as well. This is another form of pretty much being your brother's keeper, your sister keeper, on how we have to look out for one another in our community. Take a look at this one.
Of course, we're still keeping a very close eye on the ongoing recovery efforts in Texas following the deadly flash flooding earlier this month, as search crews continue their work and families begin the recovery process. Making sure the community has food is so important. And Operation BBQ Relief has been on the ground across South Central Texas, serving meals to families, first responders, and of course, recovery teams. And joining us now is Senior Director of Logistics and Inventory at Operation BBQ Relief, Chris Huggins. Chris, thank you so much for all you've done. From what I understand, you've provided over 40,000 meals to, again, the first responders, to families and those crews that are on the ground. Tell me real quick, how are you and your crews doing at this moment? Because obviously this past week and a half has really been a struggle for many.
So the guys on the ground, I had left the ground late last night, returned back home about 4 a.m. this morning to prepare myself for some other events. But the last couple of weeks that we've been on the ground, it's been taxing on you. It's long days, hot. With the weather, with the trying to get food out to these first responders and dealing with flash flood warnings coming, pulling people back off the river, slowing down the efforts and things like that. It made it very difficult, at times to continue those recovery efforts, but also to get these guys taken care of because you're constantly on the move trying to avoid what could be another flood in those river basins.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, it was literally a week after the July 4th huge flood event that took place there in Kerrville. We had more demonstrative, flash flooding that was ongoing and occurring. I'm real curious here. You guys deploy around the country. Obviously, this is your 15th deployment, from what I understand. And I hate to ask this type of question, but when you look at what you've seen in the past, in previous deployments, to what you've seen now, how does this compare?
So in all the deployments we've seen across the country, I've been a part of several. I say several, I've been a part of a bunch since 2013. This one, I feel like the emotions are high. You have a community that's coming together in a big way. The response we're getting on the volunteer side of things, we can't do what we do without the local volunteers. But to see those volunteers come out and they just want to serve their community, they want to make sure that these first responders are taken care of and these first responders and search crews are getting fed, has been great. I mean, it's a great testament to the Texas spirit, and we're just, it's been great to be a part of. And then the amount of search crews and first responders coming from all over the world to help this community get some closure for some of these families who still have loved ones that are lost. It's just a great thing to see.
Absolutely. Sometimes in moments of just, complete grief, like what we're dealing with in Central Texas, it is so nice to see people rally and come together to support one another. How can we support you and your team in what you guys are doing at Operation BBQ?
So we're in the middle of hurricane season. Y'all just talked about it. The tropics are heating up, and that's when we step in and go into action when these hurricanes start coming in. Two things we need. We need volunteers. Go to our website, obr.org, register to volunteer, download our app, and when these storms come up, we will push these notifications to our volunteers to sign up and come be a part of what we're doing and to help get these meals out. But also go to that website, obr.org, and make a donation, because without donations, it's hard for us to put out the tens of thousands of meals that we need to put out to first responders to make sure they're taken care of.
Chris, every dollar.
All right. So did you all see that? I know the video was a little bit long, but I really wanted for you all to see what it looks like when community and people are coming together. These are people that are out there searching. We're talking about human beings that are out there searching for loved ones, moving debris everywhere, volunteering. And this, I've never heard of Operation BBQ before. Okay. So this is my first time hearing it. I did go and I donated. You can go to obr.org. They're looking for volunteers. They're also looking for donations, and pretty much like a deployment, almost sound like FEMA to me, to where you can download the app. And if you have volunteered and they're in your area, they'll let you know that they need your service. So listen, look at obr.org. You can give a donation and you can also be a volunteer. That's what I'm talking about with being your brother's keeper. Now, FEMA. I understand that FEMA's on the ground in Texas. FEMA has no choice but to be on the ground in Texas. That is catastrophic. And FEMA, I feel, is needed. But let me tell you what's happening, right? The very agency that was built to provide relief and rebuild communities, let me tell you something of what they have going on, right? This is the FEMAs Aid Crisis. Right now, 20 states are suing FEMA because the government abruptly ended the BRIC program, right? That's the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program. Now, who would want to take back money that was already given to communities to build infrastructure? Why wouldn't you want to invest in your country, the different states? We're still a country. We're still a country. It's still the United States. We all supposed to come together. So why would you want to take back funding that was already given? And not just given just to be given away. No, this is for infrastructure. This is to rebuild and get those buildings and build up, so when these type of hurricanes or flooding come, you can try to avoid these major crises. But they did. This administration um, canceled. There were projects that were already approved. They were canceled. States that were depending on the help to prepare for disasters like this abandoned. They took the money back. They took the money back. They just stopped the money. Even if they were in the middle of the project, the money was halted because they canceled that program. Massachusetts Attorney General said it best. This administration is abandoning states and local communities that rely on federal funding to protect their residents and save lives. Me personally, we're just all a part of the United States. So you should want to help. You should want to make sure that these states and these communities have what they need to function. And it's not like the federal government just have their own money. No, we pay taxes. A lot of people are paying into this. So I'm not quite sure. I just don't understand, how can you cut off help before another storm hit? Why would you just cut the funding even though it was already given to them? Even this program here was developed in the first Trump administration. So you sort of wonder to yourself, who's really leading this administration? Who has the ear of the president to be so callous, to not want to continue to help our local communities? This is why we have to stand firm and tall for who we're giving our money to. These insurance companies, our local Amazon, our local grocery stores, they have to give back. It's just what they must do, right? But I'm going to let you guys know that FEMA is being dismantled right now. That phone system, they let that contract expire, and then they had to turn around and renew it. They were letting that contract expire because it was a part of their plan. But that disaster happened in Texas, so they didn't have a choice but to renew those people contract. I'm curious on how long they got the contract for. I don't know, another year, because their goal is to get rid of FEMA, and FEMA is being dismantled right now. All right. And I just want you to know that as an adjuster, I've seen the homes, I've seen the photos, I've seen the damage. I've worked with claims from the beginning all the way up to 2 years. I've hopped into claims that are almost 2 years old, and they're still trying to repair. They're still trying to get their homes built back, trying to get their personal properties built back or back in their homes. That stuff takes time. And sometimes they're even coming in and saying, hey, can I get an extension? We couldn't get a contractor. That happens, right? So just knowing the cost and knowing what it takes to get this back together, we need everyone. So please go to obr.org, donate, sign up, because truth of the matter, the system, I would say the government at this time has sort of abandoned us in this area, of what I'm talking about today. They have abandoned us, and this is why we definitely have to be our brothers keepers, our sister keepers. I try not to do videos this long, but when it comes to this, I just have to let you all know what is going on. And I want you to understand this. Flood insurance should not be rare. It should be as common as car insurance, because today, if it rains, it floods, or if it rains, it can flood. So just understand that, at this particular time, that flood insurance should no longer just be rare. It is something that we should have. All right. Now, I just want to let you all know that there are some people that are stepping up to help in Texas, and I have to give them a shout out. Nationwide donated $100,000 to the American Red Cross. They sure did. And when you think about it, those are the people that you would want to give your money to. Those are the people that you want to go and look for insurance policies from, because they will show up in the time of disaster, right? USAA committed $500,000. And they also deployed Team Rubicon. Yep, boots on the ground for recovery. I ain't talking about them boots on the ground. And no, I'm talking about real boots on the ground to do recovery. And again, these are the companies that deserve your business, deserve your money, because they're going to turn around and help. Right now, this is where I say again that we definitely going to have to be very strategic on who we're investing in, who we're giving our money to, because we want to know who's going to come back and help us. I haven't heard anything about Amazon. I haven't heard anything about any of these other insurance companies. I heard about AT&T when it first happened. I wonder if they still have that center on the ground to where you can come, hook up to the internet, do your business as normal, as normal as possible. Right? These are the companies that we need to invest in. And as consumers, this is where our dollars should go, to those companies that are investing in our infrastructure. Because y'all have to understand, y'all know what I know. A lot of these insurance companies, they have surpluses in the trillions. So they should want to come in and help. Right? All right. But listen, the headlines may move on, but the families, they're gonna need us. They're gonna need all of us. The children, they lost things, they lost their toys, they lost their sense of safety. We can't forget them, right? So it's time that we wake up. It's time that we ensure our homes like they actually matter. Because sometimes when these disasters do come in, there's nothing we can do about them. But if we have these policies in place, recovery will be a little bit better. And another thing, we have to hold these companies that we give our money to, the government agencies, insurance companies. We got to hold them accountable for showing up when disaster strikes. And again, a lot of these companies have trillions of dollars of surplus. They can take some of that money and help in times like this. All right. So if no one else protect us, we have to come together as a community, and help each other. Because at the end of the day, again, we are our brother's keeper, our sister's keepers. That's what we do. That's how we roll. That's how we need to roll from now on. Now, if you found this episode helpful, drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you were impacted, your experience with this. Have you volunteered before? Let me know. And another thing, please subscribe. If you've been impacted by flood, or you have had zero coverage and you know how I feel, let me know. Drop a comment down there so we can discuss that, right? So another thing, I am trying to protect 10,000 homes by the end of this year. So please share the video, subscribe, let everyone know that they have someone that is batting for them, that is going to keep them updated with this insurance thing. That's why it's called Unfiltered Insurance and Adjuster Talk. I am an adjuster. I'm going to start having guests on. They're lining up. And so I'm very excited about that as well. Right? So just share the video. We need more subscribers. I am trying to get at least 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I'm quite sure we can do it. Hey, also remember, download the Claim Game Plan Toolkit. It's for homeowners. It's free. It's powerful. And you know what? It's going to give you a plan before the next storm hits. All right. Well, hey, the link is in the description. Look in that description, click on that link, and there you go. You can download it from there. Until next time, stay educated, stay covered, and always keep it beyond the claim. I'll see you on the next episode.